Welcome back, students, to this session of advanced surveying, wherein we are going to learn regarding transition curves. Okay, so previously we have studied simple curves initially. We have learned various elements setting out of simple curves. Then we moved on to compound curves. Correct? Compound curves, which is a mixture of or a combination of two curves, two or more. Okay. Then we have learnt recently we have learnt reverse curves. Now we are going to learn another type that is called as transition curve. So what the name suggests here, transition is nothing but moving on from one to another, right? The time that is there between whenever you are changing from certain things, right? Transition, you are transitioning from one curve to another curve, right? So that time we have to provide this particular transition curve, that is in between two curves we provide a transition curve, or at the beginning of a curve and at the end of a curve we need to provide this transition curve. Okay, so it is clear in this particular image. You can see we have a circular curve in the center. This particular part which I have marked over here is a circular curve which we have learnt. Okay, so this is a circular curve and this is the straight or the straight line or the road which is there, and this is the another road which needs to be joined by using a curve. Okay. So we do not directly join using a circular curve. What we do is we provide a transition curve initially, and then it continues into a circular curve, and then at the end we have one more transition curve which helps us get back to the road, right? So we have transition curve at the starting and at the end. Okay, so this is one case, or it may be between two curves. Between two curves also, if you want, you can provide one transition curve. So transition curve is a curve of varying radius, very important. It is not having any constant radius. Okay, it is varying radius. It is straight initially where it meets the road, and it slowly gets into the radius which is needed of the circular curve, right? Circular curves has some radius r. So initially the transition curve will be straight, meaning the radius will be infinity. Sorry, radius is not infinity, curve is infinity. Then it goes on reducing, or the radius goes on reducing up to what? Up to the circular curve radius, so that it meets this radius of the circular curve, so that you have a smooth transition from the straight line to this circular curve. So this is why this particular transition curve is provided. Okay, it is having a various varying radius introduced between a straight and a circular curve, right? It is introduced between a straight and a circular curve, or between two branches of a compound curve or reverse curve, right? Between two curves we can provide, or at the starting and at the end we can provide, depending upon where you need. You can provide your transition curve. So let me read the definition of a transition curve once more. A transition curve is a curve of varying radius. Okay, it has a varying radius introduced between a straight and a circular curve, or between two branches of a compound curve or a reverse curve. Okay. So transition curve we have to provide at the beginning and at the end of a curve, or it can provide it between two compound curves or reverse curve. Okay, so this is the definition. Now let us understand this transition curve in detail. So you can see what the various curves that we have learned. We have learned compound curve, right, which is a combination of two curves. Right? The radius may be same or the radius may be different. So we have learned this particular compound curve wherein it has two different curves. Then here is a reverse curve which we have learned recently. This is one branch of the reverse curve, and this is the second curve. Okay, which tends to move in the opposite. Curve of the first curve is tending to turn in the right direction, while the second curve we can see it is turning in the left direction. Okay. So we have learned compound curve, reverse curve. Now you can see a combined curve which is provided over here. Combined curve meaning it is a complete curve, right? You can see it is a circular curve over here. From B to C it is a circular curve, and this particular D to E is also a circular curve. D to E is a circular curve, and you can see between these two circular curves we have a transition curve, right? We have a transition curve between these two circular curves. Also at the start you can see this is the straight line or the straight road which is coming, right? So from here you can see we have a transition curve A to B. Okay, from straight, if you want to get into a circular curve, you have to provide a transition curve so that you can smoothly get into the circular curve. If you directly provide a curve, circular curve like this, it will be difficult for you to turn suddenly, right? It will be discomfort and it will be dangerous for the passengers. So what we do, we provide a transition curve which allows you to smoothly get into the curve and smoothly get out of the curve. That you can see at the exit also you have a transition curve which is provided, that is E to F, right? This particular curve is a transition curve, and the important thing you have to remember that the radius is varying, right? The radius of the transition curve is not constant like in a circular curve or compound curve, reverse curve, wherein your radius were fixed, right? R1, R2 or the radius were fixed, but in this particular transition curve radius will be varying. It is not a fixed value. Okay, because it has to get from a straight line to a circular curve. Okay. So this is a comparison of various curves which we have learned. Now here in this picture you can see clearly a circular curve and a transition curve, how they are provided. Okay. So in this image you can see we have a circular curve from here to here. This is a circular curve, and from the straight line, from the straight road, we directly do not provide a circular curve, we provide a transition curve. In this part is the transition curve, and also at the exit the same thing, we have to provide a transition curve so that we can properly exit the road into a straight line. Properly exit from the curve into a straight road. That we do not directly provide a circular curve without a transition curve, because at high speed it is dangerous. Okay. At the bottom picture also you can see clearly we have a straight line, we have a straight road over here, and then we have a circular curve starting from C. Circular curve starting from C like this. This is the circular curve, and from the straight to enter into the circular curve, you can see we have a transition curve which is provided from B to C. Okay, so this is the radius R of the circular curve, not of the transition curve. Okay, transition curve has varying radius, not a constant radius. Okay, so I hope you have got a clear idea of what a transition curve is and where it needs to be provided. Okay, so one more image wherein it is clear why we provide a transition curve. So in the green color you can see a straight line is there over here. In the green color you can see we have a straight line or a straight road which is there, and here also we have a straight road. These two roads need to be joined by a curve. So red color, what you see is a transition curve starting from here up to where you enter your circular curve or a radial curve. Up to where you enter your radial curve, you can see we have a transition curve which is provided. So this part is a transition curve in red. Okay, this blue color is what you see is a radial or a circular curve, right? Then you provide a transition curve for exit again so that you safely enter into the straight road. Okay, so you can see a circular curve is from here, right? It is starting from here to here, but the road is going into the circular curve via a transition curve. Okay, so we have to learn a few characteristics, a few necessities of transition curve. Okay, in this also image you can see to enter into a circular curve or into a circle from a straight line, we need to provide a transition curve. You can see clearly in red there is a transition curve which is going from a straight line, which is going from a straight line slowly curving into a circular curve. Okay. So this is why a transition curve is required. I hope the idea of a transition curve is clear. Okay, coming to types of transition curve types. We have various types of transition curves which you can see on your screen. So you have many types of transition curves. The important ones are this spiral or a cubic spiral, what we call, and a cubic parabola. These two are usually provided for railway lines, okay, railway lines, and this Bernoulli's lemon skate. This is provided for highways. Okay, you can see it is in this particular format. It is going like this, turning and again coming back to the same position. So this type of a curve is called a Bernoulli's lemniscate. So this is usually provided for roadways. And these two, spiral which you can see over here, spiral which you can see like this, it is curving continuously inside. So this spiral and this cubic parabola, this particular line, cubic parabola, is usually provided for railway lines. Okay, so we need to draw this particular figure and name these particular curves and write down a few properties of these, okay, along with where they are used. Okay, usually this is a important question for your exam. Different types of transition curves. So after we learned the different types of transition curves and which are provided where, so we can move on to a few main functions of a transition curve. Right, I have explained to you. Now we will learn in detail the main functions of a transition curve. Okay, the first point, to accomplish gradually the transition, right? The transition from a tangent or a straight, right? Tangent or a straight line to a circular curve. Correct. That is the main thing of a transition curve. It provides a gradual transition or a gradual change, right? Change of direction from the tangent or the straight line to the circular curve, so that the curvature is increased from zero to specific value. Right, as I've told you initially, for a straight line, the curve is zero because it is a straight line. It does not have any curvature, but it now gradually starts to get curved, and finally it achieves the specific value of the circular curve. Right, it finally achieves the value necessary for, or the same value of the same curvature value of the circular curve, which is provided next. Okay, so this part is the transition curve which I have drawn. Okay. So second important function of a transition curve is to provide a medicine for gradual introduction or change of the required super elevation, right? We need to provide a super elevation. So to provide super elevation, we directly cannot raise the outer edge. We have to gradually increase the outer edge. So for that also we require this transition curve. So I will explain a super elevation using an image. So you can see here, this is super elevation which is provided, right? Whenever you have a curve, you might have observed that the outer edge of the road is usually higher than the inner edge, right? So that is nothing but called as super elevation, the raising of the outer edge of the road, so that your vehicle is stable on the curve, it does not overturn or it does not slip, right, at high speeds. So that is why we need to raise the outer edge of the road, right? And that is nothing but called as super elevation, that is termed as small e. Okay, super elevation is termed as small e. So you cannot directly raise the outer edge, right? Whenever we have a curve, we have to slowly increase the outer edge to the required super elevation level, right? To this particular height we need to slowly increase, right? You can see it is zero over here, and this is called the camber of a road, right? Or the cross section which you see over here, it is usually provided in this particular triangular format. Why is it provided in a triangular format? So that your rainwater or your water can drain out easily, and it does not stay on the road and deteriorate the road, right? So this is the usual cross section of your road, if you have observed. And if you want to provide a super elevation, what you have to do, you have to raise the outer edge and you have to keep the other edge same, right? So this raising of the outer edge, right, is nothing but the super elevation, what we call. So we cannot directly go to this particular cross section, right? We have to slowly increase the outer edge height. So you can see it is being slowly increased like this, and up to we achieve the required super elevation. So this is why also we need a transition curve. We can see from here to here, we have a transition curve, right? Starting from here, this cross section up to you reach the value of your required super elevation. We have to provide a transition curve. Okay. Similarly at the exit also, we need to provide a transition curve, so that from this particular cross section, we get back to our normal cross section of the road. Okay, I think you have not studied superillusion, but you will study in your further semesters. This is a very interesting concept and very important concept, super elevation, which you will learning in your transportation subject. Okay, so the basic idea, I hope it is clear, of a superrelation and why we need to provide transition curve, right, at a curve. So that is what is the second point, telling us to provide a medicine or provide a way for gradual introduction or change of the required superrelation, right? And then the third important point, it mainly eliminates what it eliminates. It eliminates the derailment or overturning of vehicles and also the discomfort of the passengers. Very important. So when you are going straight at high speed and you suddenly enter into a circular curve like this, if you suddenly enter into circular curve, it will be very discomfortable for the passengers, right? You will be thrown out to the outer side, right, to the other side. If you are turning left, you will move towards your right, you will be suddenly having a force, centrifugal force acting on you, right, and you will be moving towards your right. And if you are turning to the left, suddenly you will feel a inertia force moving you towards your left. Okay, so to prevent that discomfort, what we do, we provide a smooth transition curve so that you enter into the circular curve very easily, okay, not suddenly. So, and overturning of vehicles, right? Overturning of vehicles is when you enter into a curve at very high speed, right? When you enter at this particular curve at very high speed, what will happen? Your vehicle will overturn. It will just fall off the edge, right? Because you are going at very high speed and your inertia force will act on your vehicle. Suppose if this is your vehicle, right, moving in this particular direction, and if you are turning right suddenly, what will happen? Your vehicle will overturn in this direction, right? It will it will get turned in this particular direction and it will fall off. So to avoid overturning, right? To avoid overturning, what we do is we provide a transition curve. Okay, and also to avoid derailment. What is derailment? It is nothing but moving your vehicle or your railway line out of the track. Right? If your vehicle is moving out of the road, or if your railway is moving, or it is getting out of the track, it is called as derailment. Right? So when you are going at high speeds, the chances of derailment are very high, right, at a curve. So to eliminate that risk, what we do, we have to provide a smooth transition curve. Okay, so these are a few main functions of a transition curve which we have read. Okay, so moving on to the next thing, characteristics or requirement. What are the characteristics of a transition curve, or what we can say are the requirements? So a transition curve must have these particular characteristics. A transition curve should have all these characteristics, or what we call as requirements. These requirements need to be fulfilled by a transition curve. Okay, the first point, it should be tangential to the straight. Okay, so if you have a circle, if you have a transition curve, right, at the straight, meaning at this particular straight line, it has to be starting as a straight line, right? You can see it is straight initially. So it has to be tangential, or it has to be tangential to the straight line. So that is the first particular characteristic of a transition curve. You can see it is straight. Initially it is straight. Then it should meet circular curve tangentially. This is also very important. When you have a transition curve, you can see here at where it meets the circular curve, where it is meeting tangentially, right? It is meeting in a tangential manner, right? Like at this particular point, if you draw a tangent, it will be in this particular format, right? It is meeting, and your transition curve is meeting tangentially to this curve. That is the second important thing, right? It should meet the particular circular curve tangentially. Next, circular curvature should be zero at the origin on straight, right? As I've told you, the curvature should be zero at the initial starting point. It should be zero, and the curvature at the joint should be same as the circular curve, correct? So these 2 points I've told you. Initially it has to be straight, and then slowly curve and achieve the curvature of the circular curve which we have provided. Okay, or we can say radius initially should be zero. Initially, sorry, not zero. Radius has some value, but it then gradually changes to achieve the radius of the circular curve. Okay, so that is the second, third, and the fourth point. Now coming to the fifth point, rate of increase of curvature should be same as that of cant. So what is cant? It is nothing but super elevation, another term used for super elevation. Okay, the rate of increase of curvature, this particular curvature rate in the increase of the rate of increase of the curvature, right? Rate of increase of curvature should be same as that of cant. Right, in this particular image, you can see we have increased slowly the outer edge, right? We have slowly raised the outer edge. So that particular raising of the outer edge, it has to follow some rate, right? It has to follow some rate. So that this particular rate of super elevation, increase of the rate of super elevation, and also the rate of increase of the curvature, has to be kept same. These two have to be kept same. Sorry. This you can see is the rate of change of curvature. Rate of change of curvature is the change of direction, right? And this is the rate of change of increase, right? Rate of increasing the outer edge of the road to meet super elevation E, right? From 0 to super elevation E, we have to raise slowly that particular rate of increase, right? And this particular rate of change of curvature should be kept as same. That is what is mentioned in the fourth point. Rate of increase of curvature should be kept same as that of cant. Okay. Length should be such that full cant or full super elevation is attained at the junction with a circular curve. Very important. I have shown you in this particular image. This is the point where the circular curve starts. Right, you can read over here. This is the circular curve. Right, this part is the circular curve, and we can see that at this particular cross section we have achieved full super elevation. Right, full super elevation. So from here we are going to slowly increase. From here we are going to slowly increase the super elevation until you reach E. Until we reach the value E. So this particular condition you have to follow, that at the circular curve start, at where the circular curve starts, you have to achieve full super elevation. Full super elevation up till the end of the circular arc. Up till the end of the circular arc. Up till here you can see this is the end of the circular arc. Up to here the super elevation value must be fully achieved. Up to here the super elevation value must be E. Okay, full super elevation has to be provided over here, and then again from here to the straight line it can slowly be reduced to 0. Okay, so from 0 to E it is increased, and from E again it is made 0. Okay, so this is what is being explained in the sixth point. Length should be such that full cant is achieved, full cant is attained at the junction with the circular curve. Okay, so these are a few requirements which we have studied of a transition curve. So I hope you have understood the basic concept and the theory regarding transition curve. If you have understood, and if you have no doubt, please raise your hand and let me know whether you have understood the concept of transition curves. If you have not understood any doubt, if you have in any of the concept of the transition curve, please let me know. I'll explain once more. Okay, okay, you can lower your hand. Thank you. Okay, so I hope there is no doubt in the theory part of transition curve. You have understood properly. So one more important thing now we need to study of your transition curve. That is the length of a transition curve. We need to learn how to calculate the length of your transition curve. So you can see over here, this is the length of the transition curve. This is the transition curve, and this is the length L of the transition curve. Right? L of transition curve, which we need to learn how to calculate. We have to calculate the length of the transition curve, right? We have various examples I've shown, right? Over here you can see, from here, from this particular point to this particular point. This is the transition curve, and this is the length now which we need to calculate of this particular transition curve. So we have various formulas which we can adopt depending upon the data which you have, and we can calculate this LT, or length of the transition curve. So here you can see I have written down a few formulas regarding length of transition curve. Important concept, right? Length of the transition curve, they will be asking you in exam. Okay, so we have A, B, C. Okay, we have three methods of calculating your length of transition curve. We have three methods. So getting into the first method, you can see the first method, it is known as arbitrary gradient method. Arbitrary gradient method. Okay, so this particular method follows this formula, wherein L or length of transition curve is equal to 1.18 n into v square by r. Okay, n into v square by r. So what is E, what is n, what is v now, what is n? So I have told you super elevation which we provide is known as a small e, right? Super elevation E, which is provided at a rate of 1 in n. Which is provided at a rate of 1 in n. So 1 in n of the super elevation which we provide, the rate of super elevation, this particular n which you see in here, which is related to super elevation, we have to substitute over here. Okay, so this will be given to you, 1 in n will be given to you in meters, that you have to substitute here. Okay. Make sure you follow proper units. Okay, it has to be in meters. If they give you in any other units, make sure you convert it to meters and then substitute in small n. Okay, so that is very important. Now, what is this capital V? Okay, we have two notations that we usually use, that is small v and capital V. Small v is usually used for meter per second, and capital V, remember, it is always used for kilometer per hour. Okay, but here in this particular thing, they have kept it as kilometer per second. I am not sure. I will check and let you know whether it is kilometer per second or kilometer per hour. It is, I think it is in kilometer per hour. Okay, I will verify and I will let you know this particular unit later on. But it is sure that it is velocity. It is nothing but the speed or the velocity of your vehicle. Okay, speed of your vehicle which you are driving at. Now, what is r? R is nothing but radius of the curve, that we need to provide in meters. Okay, make sure the unit is in meter. Very important, because this constant is depending upon the units. If you substitute wrong, this particular your answer will give you, the answer that this equation will give you will be wrong. Okay, once you substitute all these values, the answer, the length of the transition curve which you get, will be in meters. The answer which you get will be in meters. The answer will give you in meters, no problem. Not in kilometers, not in any other unit, but it will give you answer in meters. So make sure while substituting you follow these particular units, right? N should be in meters, velocity should be in kilometer per second, and radius should be in meters. Okay. So moving on to the second method, it is known as by time rate method. Second method of calculation of length of a transition curve is time rate method. So the formula I have written here on the screen, you can see it is capital L is equals to 0.327 V cube by R into small r. V cube by R into small r. So what is V cube? It is nothing but the speed or the velocity of a vehicle in kilometer per hour. Okay, V cube by R into R. Capital R, we know it is nothing but radius in meters, and small r is what? Rate of time, okay, in centimeter per second, rate of time in centimeter per second. So this will be given to you, rate of change of acceleration. I think it is right. It is nothing but rate of time, correct? Rate of time, you can see time rate method is written, right? Time rate. So it is rate of time in centimeter per second. So all these things will be given to you. You have to just substitute and calculate capital L. Okay. So this will also give you answer in meters. Okay. It will give you answer in meters. Make sure while substituting you follow these particular units. Okay. Now one more important thing. How do you convert meter per second to kilometer per hour? Usually they give you in meter per second or they give you in kilometer per hour. Then you have to convert it from meter per second to kilometer per hour, or from kilometer per hour to meter per second. Now 1 meter per second we will convert to how we will convert to kilometer per hour. How do you convert now? Can you tell me how do you convert? What we do, we have to multiply in the numerator and in the denominator. What do we have to multiply to convert this particular units to kilometer per hour? How do you convert meter to kilometer? Meter to kilometer, do you have to multiply by 1000 or divide by 1000? Meter to kilometer.
Multiply with 10 raised to minus 3.
Correct. You have to multiply it by 10 raised to minus 3. Correct. 1 meter is equals to 1000. Sorry, 1000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. Right. So in to convert this particular meter to kilometer, you have to divide by 1000. Divide by 1000, or you have to multiply it by 10 power minus 3. Okay. Then to convert second to hour, what you have to do now? Convert hour to second. Do you have to multiply or do you have to divide?
Divided by 60.
Divided by 60, correct, into divided. Okay, we'll write divide into divided by 60, which will give you in minutes. Okay, again multiply it by 60 to get it in hours. Correct. What I've done is correct. Is it correct what I've written? So calculate and tell me what is the final answer now. Calculate and tell me in ratio, or you can tell me in a decimal value. What is the final value? One into 10 power minus 3 divided by 1 divided by 60 into 60. That is
3.6.
Correct. 3.6. So remember this particular value that you can multiply and you can calculate, right? So if they give you in meter per second, you have to multiply it by 3.6 and you will get it in kilometer per hour, correct? So whatever conversion we have done, have you understood? Is it correct? Can you verify, is it correct whatever we have done? Yes. Suppose now, if you are going at a speed of 100 kilometer per hour, 100 kilometer per hour, right? What you see in your vehicle speedometer, right? 100 kilometer per hour, the velocity is showing you. Now convert this particular thing to meter per second and tell me. Convert this speed, convert this velocity to meter per second. It will be smaller. It will be smaller than 100. The numerical value I'm talking about will be smaller than 100. What is the answer? You have to divide it by this number. You have to divide by 3.6 to get the answer. Now can you tell me the answer? You have to divide 100 by 3.6. What is the answer?
27.7.
27.7. Okay.
77.
Okay. So you can see if you are going at 100 kilometer per hour, it is nothing but 27.77 meter per second. Okay, that is meaning you are moving at a speed of 27 meter per second, meaning per second you are traveling 27 meters. You can just imagine 27 meters you are traveling in a second. That is very high speed. At every second you are traveling how many meters? 27, almost 28 meters you are traveling per second. Okay. Now if you want to convert from meter per second to kilometer per hour, just multiply by 3.6 you will get in kilometer per hour, right? Whatever value they give you in meter per second. Suppose they give you 10 meter per second. Now if you convert 10 meter per second to kilometer per hour, what it will be? So into 3.6 it will become how much? 36 kilometer per hour, right? So this is so meter per second. You usually write it as small v, and this kilometer per hour we write it as capital V. Okay, so make sure you know this conversion, because this is usually what you have to do in exam, right? Usually they give you the opposite one, and you have to convert it to kilometer per hour or meter per second. Then moving on to the third method of calculation of length of your transition curve. You can see it is called as rate of change of radial acceleration. So this is based on change in acceleration. You have to change slowly your acceleration as you move into your transition curve. So the rate of change of this particular acceleration, right? Acceleration is not in a straight direction. In your curve, you are going in a changing direction, right? You are going in a circular manner. So here the acceleration is in radial direction. So the rate of change of this particular acceleration we are taking into account, and we are going to find out the length of your transition curve. Okay, so it will be L is equals to V cube by alpha R. V cube by alpha R. You can see it is small v. Okay, small v denotes what? Meter per second. Speed in meter per second. Now, what is alpha? Alpha will be given to you. Alpha is nothing but the rate of change of radial acceleration. It is usually 0.3. Okay, 0.3 meter per second square per second. Right, what is this? This is nothing but this is acceleration, right? Meter per second square is acceleration. Now the rate of change of this acceleration, meaning you have to check the change of this acceleration per second change. What is the change in acceleration at every second, right? So we have divided by second, so it will become meter per second cube. So it is usually 0.3. So if you substitute 0.3 over here, 0.3 if you substitute, and if you convert this small v to capital V, right? If you convert this small v to capital V, and if you substitute 0.3 over here, okay, then the answer will be capital V cube by 14R. Capital V cube by 14R. Okay, where capital V is speed in kilometer per hour. There is one more formula which we can use for calculation of length of the transition curve is 12.8 square root of R. 12.8 square root of R. So you can use any of these depending upon what data has been provided to you, and you can easily calculate length of the transition curve. So we have three formulas, right? We have three formulas with us. Okay, so you have to remember these three formulas for calculation of the transition curve. Now, we shall look into a few numericals regarding length of transition curve. I'll explain in brief just the calculation of the transition curve. Okay, so getting into numerical examples of length of transition curve. Okay, so in this particular numerical 3.2, so this is a numerical which is very large, but we are only going to calculate the length of the transition curve from this particular numerical. Okay, there are various things that need to be calculated, but we are only concerned of length of the transition curve. So from this particular numerical, we can say that they have given what? They have given the speed, that is 100 km per hour. Velocity capital V is given as 100 km per hour. We have converted that to small v. We have converted it to small v. You can see after conversion, whatever you had told previously, right? 27.78 meter per second. That is the same thing. Okay. Now, one more thing that you have to remember is centrifugal ratio. It is V square by GR. centrifugal ratio is given by small v square by g into. Okay. So this is also given, this particular ratio value is given as 1 by 4 in the question. You can see the centrifugal ratio is mentioned as 1.4. No problem. Once this is given, radius you can calculate from here, which is unknown. Radius is calculated here. G is nothing but your acceleration due to gravity. It is nothing but 9.81. Acceleration due to gravity. Fixed value. G is always fixed. This V we have calculated, it is 27.78. So you can calculate radius of the curve. Radius of the curve, it is coming as 315 meters. Okay, radius of this particular circular curve which needs to be achieved. Okay, it is not the radius of the transition curve. It is the radius of the circular arc. Okay. Now length of the transition curve is given by this particular formula which we have written down, right? L is equals to V cube, small v cube, okay, small v cube by alpha r, small v cube by alpha r. So v cube, v we know it is 27.78, no problem. Alpha is usually what I've told you, alpha value is usually 0.3, usually 0.3. Radius r, just now we have calculated, it is 315. So we can substitute all these values and you can see the the length of the transition curve has come as 227 meters. Okay, 227 meters. So in this way, you have to calculate length of the transition curve. Okay. So here also we have one more example, wherein we have to use this method of radial acceleration, rate of change of radial acceleration, and the formula is what? L is equals to V cube by alpha r. L is equals to V cube by alpha r. V cube by alpha r. So alpha is 0.3 meter per second. It is not second square, it is second cube. Right. So we know this particular alpha value. R is also given to us. Radius of the curve is also given to us. No problem. Velocity, it is not known. It is not given in this particular numerical. If you read, velocity is not given to us. So it is in meter per second. We know that. Okay. Small v it is. Okay. So now to calculate your length, to calculate this particular length, we substitute everything. We will keep v as it is. We have kept small v as it is. We have substituted in this particular equation. We have kept small v as it is. Okay. So L is equals to V cube by 60. V cube by 60. Now, this particular centrifugal ratio, we know it is V square by GR, right? Correct. V square by GR, right? That particular value can be calculated, right? It is given as 15 by 150 using tan theta. So what is that? Okay. So 1.5 meter and maximum super elevation restricted to 15 centimeters and 1.5 meters. So using these two data, we have to apply tan theta, right? Let me just show you in cross section. So this is the super elevation or the raising of the outer edge, right? So the maximum super elevation that they have told us, that is this particular height that we can achieve is 15 centimeters, right? 15 centimeters, and the gauge or the road distance or the gauge or the road distance, it is right, it is for the gauge. Okay, it is the road distance, which is 1.5 meters or nothing but 150 centimeters. At gauge meaning the width of the road. So here you can see this theta is what now? Tan theta. If you apply here tan theta, it will be equal to 15 by 150, right? 15 by 150, which is nothing but equal to V square by GR. We have to equate it to the this thing, right? We have to equate it to centrifugal ratio V square by GR. That is equated. You can see 15 by 150 is equals to V square by GR. Next, solving for V now. Okay, all the things are known. You can see R is also known. G is what? Small g is acceleration due to gravity, which is usually 9.81, which is a fixed value, 9.81 meter per second square. It is acceleration, okay, meter per second square. Radius R, we know it is given as 200, right? Only unknown here is small v. So you can solve for small v, and we have got small v as 50.4 kilometer per hour or 14 meter per second. 14 meter per second. We shall keep it in meter per second only because we have to substitute in meter per second. Right? So we will keep it as 14 meters per second. Okay, now we know the velocity. Now we can easily calculate length of the transition curve. Length of the transition curve is equal to what? L is equals to V cube by here alpha r. Right, so everything is known. L is equals to V. We have found out just now it is 14 cube by alpha is 0.3. Usually it is 0.3 and radius is given as 200. Right. So substituting all these things, length of the transition curve we have got as 46 meters. 46 meters. Okay. So here we have found out using method, which method? Method of radial acceleration, rate of change of radial acceleration. So one more important formula that you have to remember is V square by GR, V square by small v square by GR. This is what? Centrifugal ratio. Centrifugal ratio, I have told you, it is nothing but tan theta. It is tan theta. It is this theta, tan theta, that is nothing but this super elevation E and the width of the road. You can write it as W or you can write it as B. Okay, so that you have to equate. You can get a velocity from that particular thing. If it is not given, you can calculate, and then you can substitute to calculate the length of the transition curve. Okay, so this is regarding transition curve. You have just the theory part, and you have to solve a numerical on the transition curve, which we have done. Okay, so with this, we have finished the transition curves. So we have to cover one more important topic now, that is vertical curves. Vertical curves. Do we have time? We have time. We have 5 minutes. Okay, no problem. So vertical curves we shall cover in the next class. If you have any doubts in the transition curves, please let me know. We have 5 minutes. I can explain it to you if you have not understood any of the parts or any of the theory regarding transition curve. So vertical curves, only theory part is there for it is only theory in vertical curves where we have to learn the types of vertical curves and we need vertical curves and what are the requirements for vertical curve. If you do that, we will be finishing with the module. So after our curves, we will be finishing the third module, that is curves. Curves. We have learned simple curves, we have learned compound curves, we have learned reverse curves, transition curves, and also vertical curves we are going to learn. So I know this is a very big module compared to other, but this is a very important thing which you have to learn. And we have covered this thing now. And the remaining modules, right? They are theory, not much numericals near fourth and fifth module. Right? We can cover them very quickly, no problem. But this particular curve module is very large compared to other modules. Okay, so we will cover the vertical curves in the next class. So we can give attendance now. Everyone can give your attendance, please give your attendance, and if you give your attendance, you are free to exit the session. Make sure you keep on practicing the various formulas and the derivations which we have done, because there are many and confusing initially. With practice, you will become perfect. So I will send the remaining notes. Make sure you go through the problems, go through the theory, and make yourself perfect by practice. Very important. And don't forget, don't miss out on practice. The more you practice, the more perfect you will become, and you will face lesser problems in exam. So I hope you have understood today's session of transition curves. wherein we have learned the necessity, characteristics, types, and how do you calculate the length of a transition curve. Has everyone given their attendance? Yes. Has everyone, can I stop here? And has everyone given their attendance? Okay, I shall stop recording now.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you very much for attending the class. So, what did you feel about this particular module? How was this module?